Welcome to the ATEX video library on the PagePack to Books program. This program will import your PagePack and assessment reports into QuickBooks, including all versions, 2008, 9, 10, 11, up to the latest 14, Pro, Premier, Enterprise, or QuickBooks Online. You'll see that we currently have a QuickBooks file company opened, and it's assumed that you're familiar with our basic video 101 on the basics of our product, and somewhat familiar with the PagePack file that you get from them through the Scott tool, or the assessment report that is emailed to you usually monthly on the beginning of the month. To start our program, you just have to click on the shortcut that was created during the install process. The first time it has to be authorized by the QuickBooks admin user, and that has already been done in our case. You'll see, just like in our 101 video that starts up, the PagePack to Books program name is here, the build level, the edition you're running, and then the company file, the company name actually, that you connected to. And it's always to the company that is currently opened. In other words, this one. Now, normally after the setup is done, all you really need to do is select the file, double click on it, or hit go import. Right now we're just going to take you through some of the screens and maybe try to do a quick import and see how that goes. First of all, talking about some of the options that we have. Here we have the transaction date, and it defaults to the current date, but you can change that if you wish. Or we could use the PagePack period ending date, or the first of the month after that date. If you're using a service date on your line items, you could also specify the same options here. Most people don't use a service date. If you're using assessment reports, all you really need to do is click on this checkbox here. Now, this is the file list box, just like in all of our programs. It just lists the files that meet this pattern in this folder, and that can be changed by you anytime. If you don't see it in the folder here, which is actually ours, you can browse to it. Now, let's talk about the options on creating an invoice in QuickBooks. First, you have to tell it that you want to create a invoice. So you click on the invoice radio button. It's assumed that you have a customer database already set up, and we're not going to talk about that in this video. That will be in another video, and that's usually either an Access database or it could be Excel if you have the Gold Edition. Some customers may want to just use a markup of the cost that Xerox is charging you, and you have those options. Here we talk about the various QuickBooks items that can be used for your different charges. In other words, you have a base charge, you might have a lease charge or other charge, and you just specify the item in your QuickBooks. These are your names in your QuickBooks, and you can just select one of them or type in the name. See, they are the same. If you're using classes, you could also give it a class here, or actually you could also give classes on a transaction level here if you wish. And again, we have these items for each of the different categories or charges, base charge, lease charge, other charge, your regular mono, your regular color, and the color cubes if you're using them. If you don't like these names, you can also override these names that appear on the documents that are created. We do have various options that you might want to use. Set it pending, set to email, set to invoice, that which is very common. Another very common one is skip 0 usage lines. And we do have more about the ship to address, breaking on it, which is not going to be covered in this basic video. Now, you might want to have a particular template that you want to use in QuickBooks. You can just select it here. If you have more than one accounts receivable in your chart of accounts, I can set that here. Again, we talked about the class if you want to use that. Now, more importantly, is how does the invoice look to your customers and what do they see? And you don't want them to come back in and basically call you with questions. So we're going to talk now about what does the description field look like, and it's not going to be just what's in QuickBooks. We're going to change this value, and we have it on each of your different charges, the base, lease, other, actual usage. We have these variables like here for serial number or the device itself. Here we have the beginning and ending numbers. So you can set those as you need. You can also set the customer message. These are predefined in QuickBooks on your invoice and are here if you want to use them. You don't have to use them. Next, we're going to talk about and that's all you really need to do to create the invoice. That's it. Pretty simple. If you do want to pay Xerox using this, we can create a bill or a check. That's optional. So you would say, well, I'll only do a bill. What is the name in QuickBooks of the vendor for Xerox? If it's a check, what is the bank account? If it's accounts payable and you have more than one, which accounts payable account to use? Next, we're going to say, what happens if I have several demo machines? Well, if you have a demo machine, you don't want to send yourself an invoice. So if you put in your name that's in the PagePack file here, we're going to see that and skip or ignore any of those records. You would need to set up an expense account that you want those to be charged, and those will appear on the bill or the check, so that any of those would be basically skipped. That concludes this part of the video. We will have another video both on the customer setup and also on a quick example of running the program and creating invoices, which will be actually very short because it only takes about 5 minutes. But again, thank you for watching this video and looking forward to working with you. Goodbye.